Welcome to the beating heart of London, Buckingham Palace, home to kings and queens, joy and sorrow, triumph and tragedy. This is not just a building. It is a living chronicle of British history. Join us now, as we step through centuries of splendor, scandal, and sovereignty. Once a modest townhouse, now a global icon, this palace has grown like the nation itself. Its story begins long before royalty ever set foot inside. Let's journey back to its roots, where rivers whispered secrets and monarchs dreamed of legacy. In medieval times, the land was part of the Manor of Ebury, a marshy stretch crisscrossed by the Tyburn River. Villages rose and fell here, their stories buried beneath stone and time. The echoes of the past still ripple beneath our feet today. After the Norman conquest, William the Great claimed this land, eventually gifting it to monks of Westminster Abbey. Ownership changed hands like pieces on a royal chessboard, from kings to clergy, from lords to lovers. Each left their mark, but none could imagine what would come next. By the 17th century, the crown leased parcels while holding on to ultimate control. Speculation ran wild. Fortunes were made and lost over this plot of land. At the center of it all was Mary Davies, an heiress whose inheritance would shape the future of Britain. Imagine the first house rising from the mud around 1624. Built by William Blake, then expanded by George Goring. He called it Goring House, with sprawling gardens that laid the groundwork for today's royal paradise. But fate had other plans. Goring never secured the deed. In 1640, a legal document failed to pass the Great Seal before Charles I fled London. That single oversight allowed the royal family to reclaim the property generations later under George III. History turned on a missed stamp. Enter John Sheffield, who commissioned architect William Wynne to build Buckingham House in 1703. 3 floors, 2 service wings, elegant, refined, and built for nobility. Little did he know his home would one day become the seat of a kingdom. In 1761, King George III bought the house for Queen Charlotte as a private retreat. Thus began its transformation from aristocratic manor to royal sanctuary. It became known as the Queen's House, and soon, a new era would begin. An Act of Parliament in 1775 officially settled the property on Queen Charlotte, trading her rights to Old Somerset House. She raised 14 of her 15 children within these walls, filling them with laughter, lessons, and life. French treasures brought after the Revolution added a touch of Parisian elegance. Though St. James's remained the official residence, by 1791, the name Buckingham Palace was already in use. The world recognized its growing importance. A quiet revolution was taking place behind those stately facades. George IV inherited the throne in 1820 and envisioned a true palace. Architect John Nash transformed the house with French neoclassical grandeur. But opulence came at a cost, one that would change everything. By 1829, Nash's designs proved too extravagant. He was dismissed, replaced by Edward Blore. When William IV took over, he preferred Clarence House and even offered to convert the unfinished palace into Parliament. Thank goodness they said no. In 1837, young Queen Victoria ascended the throne, and with her, Buckingham Palace became the principal royal residence. For the first time, the monarchy lived here permanently. The palace would never be the same again. Early days weren't easy. Chimneys smoked, rooms were cold, and gaslighting posed dangers. Yet Prince Albert tackled every problem, transforming the palace into a functional royal hub. From chaos, order emerged. As Victoria's family grew, so did the palace. Edward Blore designed a new wing enclosing the courtyard, paid for by selling Brighton Pavilion. The east front emerged, proud, public, and powerful. The ballroom and staterooms followed, dazzling guests with glittering balls and musical performances. Mendelssohn played here, Strauss danced through the halls. This was the golden age of royal entertainment. After Albert's death in 1861, Victoria retreated into mourning. Buckingham Palace stood silent for years. Some even joked it was up for rent. The lights dimmed, but the legacy endured. Public pressure coaxed Victoria back to London, though she still preferred Windsor or Osborne. Buckingham Palace remained mostly shuttered, a sleeping giant waiting for revival. That revival came with Edward VII in 1901. With his fashionable Marlborough House set, he redecorated in Belle Époque style, cream and gold accents that remain today. The palace roared back to life. During George V's reign, the palace gained its final major structural change. Aston Webb redesigned the east front to complement the Victoria Memorial outside. This refacing established the iconic image known worldwide today. George V emphasized duty over luxury, but still enjoyed modern touches like jazz performances. In 1919, the original Dixieland Jazz Band played here, the first jazz performance for a head of state. Later visits by Sidney Bechet and Louis Armstrong cemented its jazz legacy. War reached the palace during World War I, though damage was minimal. The royal family stayed, rationing food despite protests from guests. A misguided attempt to ban alcohol left the king unhappily abstinent. Queen Mary, an arts connoisseur, enriched the royal collection and installed beautiful fixtures throughout the palace. Her additions included empire-style chimney pieces and the decoration of the blue drawing room with Nash's coffered ceiling. World War II brought greater peril. 9 bombs struck the palace, the worst destroying the chapel in 1940. King George VI and Queen Elizabeth famously toured their damaged home, showing solidarity with citizens suffering through the Blitz. The Queen's defiant declaration, "I'm glad we have been bombed. Now I can look the East End in the face," captured the spirit of shared sacrifice. On Battle of Britain Day, RAF pilot Ray Holmes heroically rammed a bomber targeting the palace. VE Day celebrations centered at the palace in 1945. The royal family appeared on the balcony to cheering crowds in the mall, blacked-out windows behind them telling their own story of wartime endurance. Post-war restoration gave rise to the King's Gallery on the site of the destroyed chapel. Opened in 1962, it displays masterpieces from the royal collection. This transformation turned destruction into cultural enrichment. The palace was designated a Grade I listed building in 1970, recognizing its architectural significance. While staterooms opened to the public in 1993, the palace remains a working royal office housing hundreds daily. Our tour wouldn't be complete without witnessing this iconic ceremony. Daily from April to July, tourists gather to watch the elaborate ritual in the forecourt, steeped in tradition yet thoroughly entertaining. Behind those gilded railings lies not just a home, but a complex operation. More than 800 people work here, supporting royal engagements ranging from garden parties to formal audiences with world leaders. 3 summer garden parties alone draw thousands to enjoy tea and conversation amidst royal splendor. The palace hosts about 50,000 guests annually across garden parties, receptions, and banquets. While Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip called this home, other royals maintain apartments here. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Princess Royal, and Princess Alexandra all have offices within these walls. Today, Charles III and Queen Camilla conduct official business here while residing at Clarence House. Restoration projects ensure the palace will continue serving royalty for generations to come. Massive renovation project addresses aging infrastructure, plumbing, wiring, heating systems. Solar panels join traditional elements on the roof, blending modern sustainability with historic preservation. Controversy hasn't been absent from palace history. In 1968, efforts were made to exempt the palace from anti-discrimination laws. These chapters remind us that palaces, like people, reflect the times they live through. The palace represents more than bricks and mortar. It embodies British identity. From coronations to national mourning, it stands at the center of collective experience, connecting monarchy with citizenry. With 775 rooms and the largest private London garden, it's a city within a city. Every corridor holds stories, every chamber echoes with history. This isn't merely a building. It's a living archive of British soul. As our tour concludes, we reflect on this remarkable journey through time. From simple townhouse to global icon, Buckingham Palace has evolved with Britain itself, adapting while preserving tradition. The next time you see those famous changing guards or glimpse the balcony where history unfolds, remember the centuries of transformation beneath that stately facade. This palace isn't just home to royalty. It's home to the story of Britain itself.